If nothing else, the last year and a half have reminded us that gold, silver, and cash are not trash. While gold and silver have not performed at the levels expected, they still beat the stock market. And outside the United States, gold and silver have yielded a positive return. And while inflation is eating away at our cash, that still beats any returns we've seen thus far. For 20 years, central bankers and governments have supported artificially low interest rates, which have directly led to an overheated real estate market, one of the greatest stock bubbles in history, zombie corporations, an environment where savers have been punished as everyone chased incredibly cheap money. Now we face a 4-decade record high inflation levels, and it seems that Dr. Frankenstein, aka Bernanke and Powell, have successfully created this monster. As I said in a previous video, there just can't be a soft landing. I just can't believe that the world's largest asset bubble is going to gently deflate like a silent but deadly fart. So, based on what I've experienced over the years and some of the things I've learned from Rick Rule, I think we can come up with some concrete and tangible steps that will make all the difference in the world. And it all starts with Occam's razor. I know this doesn't feel like a time for me to nerd out, but Occam's razor is a problem-solving theory or principle that argues simplicity is better than complexity, or to make it plain, the simplest solution is almost always the best solution. Which right now, our simplest solution to the variety of crises we face that are known, anticipated, unknown, live within our possession of gold, silver, and cash. Wait, don't click away. Hear me out first. I know that isn't exactly groundbreaking suggestions, I get it. But as I've said over and over again, if knowledge was all you needed, you'd already have everything you wanted. This is also about your mentality and a willingness to use these tools, and that's what I want to address. Maybe you'll be a little more convinced after listening to the words of Rick Rule. Quote, in a period of declining liquidity, the cash will give you the tools and perhaps the courage to take advantage of the situation rather than being taken advantage of, to allow you the liquidity to take advantage of the illiquidity of others. Despite the pain of cash losing its value due to inflation, investors must continue to be liquid. For me personally, that liquidity includes gold. I include it because I am willing to sell my gold and use it as liquidity if a different asset class becomes more attractive to me. Many investors, if they bought gold at 1800, are unwilling to sell it at 1650, even if there's a more suitable opportunity on the horizon, because they don't want to quite, quote, take a loss. For me personally, liquidity comes in many forms, principally the US dollar liquidity, but also liquidity by the way of bullion. Rick's statement got me thinking, and that's when I came up with this idea of the financial holy trinity. Regardless of your stacking preference, I believe we need gold and silver, as each will provide different types of protection and opportunity over the next 6 to 18 months. Where gold will serve as your ultimate safe haven asset because of its stability, silver will offer potentially some explosive upside in the form of price appreciation, while cash will give you the ability to take advantage of opportunities as they pop up, as well as insurance in case anything goes wrong in your personal life. Ultimately, this is about BYOB, being your own bank, which is something almost every stacker talks about. But right now, I'm going to push you to take that more seriously and more literally. This is very important because 2008 taught us that the powers that be care more about big banks than they do about us, that they will save the banks before they save us. You want another reason why? Because we are already starting to see liquidity issues and banks starting to fail. Just take a look at some of these headlines. Some of you may remember the Dodd-Frank legislation, and basically it prevents the government from sponsoring bank bailouts. However, it does not prevent bank bail-ins. Be it a bank bail-in or a bank bailout, it is simply like wearing the same suit but putting on a different necktie. Except for in the case of bank bail-ins, the tie is around our necks as consumers. If you haven't heard about this, please read this article from Investopedia or Google bank bail-ins. In a nutshell, in the case of a banking liquidity crisis, in order to stabilize the banking system, banks can simply take your cash and issue you like shares of their bank instead. Now, supposedly, it can only happen to accounts over the FDIC $250,000 limit. As Americans, we're lucky because we get to see the breakdowns occur in other countries first, which gives us more time to prepare. Maybe it's not a bank bail-in. Maybe we experienced what happened to Australia the other day, where all of a sudden bank transfers stopped and millions of people lost access to their bank accounts. Right now, I just need you to trust a snake to be a snake and trust that snake to do what snakes do. This is why I'm calling your gold, silver, and cash your holy trinity for your financial crises, because you will need all three. Back to those crooked banks and how you need to be your own bank. Admittedly, this is much harder than it sounds because we all have bills and we can't just go around paying cash for everything. So let's start with the most fundamental tenet. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. It's true with metals, and right now, that includes your cash. Since we all need some type of bank account, keep only what you need for bills or life, plus 10 to 20% in the bank. If you lose access to your bank account or things get frozen, that's only 10 or 20%, and it hurts, but it won't be the end of the world like having everything frozen. I know the idea of having large amounts of cash is uncomfortable for some of y'all, and I can hear that. So let's talk about other ways besides cash. I want to remind you that cash is always king and everything else is the derivative, meaning your risk level automatically increases. With that said, there are other ways to safely store money at home, which I'm going to refer to as the cash equivalents. For example, money orders, cashier's check, prepaid gift cards, certified checks, and even traveler's checks. What's nice is all of these can be traced and canceled if lost or stolen. Please note though, that depending on the level of crises, each of these options may have their own point of failure. If I had to choose the ones I feel most comfortable with, it would be traveler's checks and prepaid gift cards, particularly with stores like Walmart and Target, because if you need to use your card as cash, these stores offer a wide variety of items, including food, and they are less likely to deny their own gift card in-house, at least in theory. I'm not saying that we need to live like this forever. Instead, I just want you to pretend like you live in Florida and a hurricane is coming. What do? How do you function? Well, when you know the hurricane is coming, you do things very differently than what you normally do. All I'm suggesting is that a hurricane is definitely coming. It may come right over us. It could turn at the last second. It could barely graze us. The problem is right now, we don't know. But we do know banks already have liquidity problems, and the Fed in particular is having to come in and inject liquidity all around the world. Okay, so we're short on time and I need to announce some winners. So please help your boy out and hit that like button for me. And don't forget to give some love to the winners in the comments. Come on, don't be a hater if you didn't win. Thank you again to Pinbacks for donating these beautiful silver eagles from your very first purchase as a company. I feel so good about giving away their eagles that I decided to jump in and give away some things as well. So I just wanted more of y'all to win. And for the record, I did use YouTube comment picker to make sure that it was fair. Take a look at the screen, as the winners of the 2020 Silver Eagles are Jeremy Adams and Martin Coe. But wait, there's more. I decided to throw in one of my own personal Silver Eagles, and that actually goes out to KS Coins. What's up, brother? KS Coins has been with me from near day one. So sending you much love out there to you in Kansas, brother. So giving away one, my Eagles felt so good that I decided to do one more, and I decided to give away Ben Franklin $50, which goes to Silver Stormy Normie. Congrats, my friend. Then I dug up a 40% Kennedy $50, which is going to go to Simple Hillbilly. Congratulations to everyone. Please send me an email with your mailing information. I will get this out to you as soon as possible. This leads me back to the Rick Rule statements I shared earlier, and it's all about the liquidity and how liquidity can protect you and or allow you to take advantage of the illiquidity of others. We just discussed bank bail-ins if the bank becomes illiquid, but when people experience illiquidity, they have to sell whatever they can to raise cash. This is where your liquidity, be it in cash in hand or the convertibility of metals into cash, can be invaluable. As Rick Rule said, the cash will give you the tools and perhaps the courage to take advantage of the situation rather than being taken advantage of, to allow you the liquidity to take advantage of the illiquidity of others. True story. In 2007, I bought a $100,000 house in Texas from a seller who was moving back east, needed to sell quickly, and had very little equity in their property. So I bought it from them from $2,000 cash, kept their financing in place, rented it out, and then 1 year later, I refinanced the property and pulled out $20,000 in cash. So a year later, I had a $120,000 house, $18,000 profit, and all of my money back. Also, I did all of this from California, and I never saw inside the house. Any one of you could do the same thing. The crises will absolutely result in a wealth transfer. And what I want is for you to be prepared with liquidity and the mindset that will allow you to take advantage of opportunities to create wealth for you and your loved ones. I've seen people sell for pennies on the dollar because they needed cash. Beyond having cash, I want you to forget the mindset of I'll never sell my metals, especially for a loss. Remember the words of Rick Rule. Many investors, if they bought gold at 1800, are unwilling to sell it at 1650, even if there's a more suitable opportunity on the horizon because they don't want to quite, quote, take a loss. For me personally, liquidity comes in many forms, principally the US dollar liquidity, but liquidity by the way of bullion. I can't tell you all what to do, but I can tell you what I am doing. And what I'm doing is every free dollar I have is going into gold, silver or platinum, and cash. And because of these prices are so low, I'm very comfortable with the idea of storing my cash in the form of gold because I am 100% willing to sell it if I need to become more liquid to seize a better opportunity. To be successful as an investor, especially in this coming environment, you may have to take what looks like a loss sometimes because you know long term it will be a win. If you're liquid and protected from the illiquidity of the banks, very soon there will be lots of opportunities from those that are illiquid where you will be able to use your cash or use your metals to make money. I want you to start opening your mind to that right now. In the comment section, let me know what are some of the other ways for us to remain liquid. Do you think that we will experience bank bail-ins or situations where they will freeze our accounts? What are some of the other things you're doing to prepare yourself for what is coming? Also, don't forget to give our winners some love. Look at all my A+ students. Couldn't be any happier with y'all. Always stack smarter, never stop learning.